Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Today, joining me is my good friend, Joe Gardner, my brother of West Covina. Mr. Joe Gardner was a former candidate for California Assembly, and I know he will be running, and I push him to run because I adore him a lot, his concept. He's got a very, very, very beautiful set of mind. So, Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. It's always great to be here.
Thank you very much. I'm excited every time you're here, but not a subject. The subject today is homeless. Homeless is our eyesore. To a country like ours, to a city like LA, especially to a city with a nickname of Angel, Los Angeles, the angel, home of angels, we really feel sad about it. So with Joe today, we're going to go over with the status quo of our homelessness and with the efforts that has seen so far, and with funds and everything, we'll see if we could do something to cure the problem. So that's it, right?
Yeah.
So I know that recently you have been involved very heavily in the homeless issue.
Yes.
So give us some update, please.
Well, actually, I've gotten involved in a program called Family Promise of San Gabriel Valley. And what it does, it takes homeless families off the street, homeless families with children, and we put them into shelter, a network of churches, and then we help them try and find stable housing, and then also help them to find work so they could stand on their own 2 feet. And it's interesting. The reason why I got involved in that is the statistics, as we know in LA County, you could see it on the street. If you drive to downtown LA, you'll notice a large number of homeless people on many of the bridges and some of the main thoroughfares in LA City. But to kind of give you a perspective, they did a homeless count, the Homeless Authority for LA County, and they came up with a number of almost 43,000 people who are homeless on the street every day, unsheltered, just living on the streets.
Okay.
And within our area, the East San Gabriel Valley, we have about 2,700 people who are homeless every day. And we begin to notice them in our communities, in our cities, some of our local streets where we never seen them before. And it's very disturbing, and I think, there are a lot of
disturbing.
yeah,
Yes,
a lot of factors that cause that. Most of them have to do with bad government policy, lack of focused resources where they need to be. So, I figured I would do my little part and be part of this, taking children and families and then try and getting them housed.
All right, all right. Thank you very much for this statement, and also thank you very much for that set of a beautiful mind. I know that, and I personally, myself, I'm very interested in the subject because I would like to take it this way. It is not a problem that you want to get away from it because you have nothing to do with it. You do have something to do with it. You are related. It is your own city. It is the fact that they are human. They are human beings. They suffer, right? They are less fortunate. Okay, now, one biggest question. I didn't realize that until quite recently. I had some discussion with my friends. I'm involved in this issue also, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
I had some discussion with my friends, and from group to group, the first question they raise, would indicate that they do not understand why do we have homeless people.
Right.
And lots will say, hey, the government has a system. They have a welfare share, and why don't they go to the government, ask for help?
Right.
So it's government. And some say they are druggies, they abuse whatever money the government give them, or they are bad guys, something like that. And it looks that people have kind of prejudice against them, homeless people, so that they don't care. They find themselves a good reason, good excuses of not caring. So
Right.
how do you see the composition of those homeless people, please?
Well, as you know, I've been on the forefront of homeless issues for my police career. 27 years, I dealt with the homeless issue every day
Yes,
on the
yeah,
streets of Santa Monica. And, you know, as time went on, I got more involved and was assigned to a specialized unit that dealt with nothing but homeless issues. The community wanted answers, wanted their communities cleaned up, their neighborhoods and their streets so that they could do business. And so they created this specialized unit. Well, when I was fortunate enough to get involved in that unit, I stayed there for 14 years. It was a real eye-opener to see the in-depth reasons why people remain homeless. And it's a mixture of things. And I think what we all have to understand is homelessness is just a symptom of something else.
Okay.
You know, there's a reason why
a
someone's
symptom of something else.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And generally that's people who have probably addictions to alcohol. Generally we saw a lot
addiction
of
to alcohol. Okay.
drugs, you know,
Drugs,
illicit drugs is another reason. And we have people who are mentally disabled, mentally ill.
Mentally disabled.
Or a combination of all those things.
I see.
So those are really tough cases to help. And oftentimes those people who are homeless, who have those problems, those addictions and mental illness, they do not seek help because they don't, number one, they're focused on their addictions and their problems more than they are about seeking help.
They don't seek for help.
Right, right. And that's a problem. I think the best mechanism, though, to help somebody in that condition is the courts. The courts were really useful in, you know, if you managed to arrest somebody, you could advocate, and which I did oftentimes, advocate for someone to get into rehab, you know, get into mental health treatment as part of their probation. But as we see now, you know, that's not happening. With Prop 47 and AB 109, you have a lot of crimes that
Speaking of that devil, yes.
They never get to court. Yeah, they never get to court. They end up accumulating numerous warrants because, you know, they go into the system. They might commit an offense. They'll stay in jail for a few hours and get released due to overcrowding.
Altogether, they are problematic people.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Somewhere, somehow, they made a mistake.
Yes.
Or even committed crime, misdemeanor, of course, right? And they gave up. Am I right?
Absolutely.
They gave up. And then things got worse and worse until someday they end up on straight.
Right.
All right. And does that include the fact that they can still go to the government, ask for help?
Sure, they can.
They can, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't stick with the programs. They might get resources like bag lunches or maybe clothing, you know, pick through the clothing boxes at a resource center. But to get the rigid case management or get into, you know, it really takes quite a while to
At one
make that
gathering with
decision.
my friends, one says that they chose to do so. They choose to do so. Is that a right definition or wrong definition?
You know, it's a factor of two different things. They might get involved in the illicit drugs, which will cause them to become addicted. And so once that happens, you know, it's very difficult to, you know, you make that one bad choice and suddenly your whole life has changed because you're now addicted to some serious illicit drug. And so it's hard to get off of that, you know, without a little help.
To back a little bit, just to clarify the concept, the impression though, with the money that the government is payable to them, makes payable to them, if they will restrict themselves or refrain themselves to the basic living, would that be enough?
No, oftentimes, you know, general relief, which you're talking about is a monthly,
GR, right?
Monthly stipend, you know, doesn't really amount to very much. I don't think anybody could exist without getting a housing subsidy on top of that. You know, if they're lucky enough to stay on somebody's couch, maybe they can, you know, use that money to help support them as far as getting food and other things that they might need. But it's really not enough. You know, it's tough. And there's not enough jobs. The economy here.
Do we have a rough number about how much government will be giving them so that we know how big a coverage that will be?
You know, I'm not sure what the numbers are. I haven't tracked those numbers in quite a while. It used to be at one time $600 or maybe a little more problem with some of that is homeless people themselves, once that 1st and 15th of the month comes around, they become victims, and you have other predatory homeless or other criminals who will take their money away from them, and then they're stuck for the whole month without any money.
We know for sure that you do not only have to worry about your food money, and you have to have a shelter, right? You have to have clothing.
Right.
You have to have a shower or something like that.
Right.
So altogether, take housing for example. That takes everybody. It's a big chunk of your check, right?
It is.
You pay about almost 1/3 of your income to housing.
Right.
Right. For that part, the government money, the GR money or ER money, emergency release money or whatever, it will never cover.
No.
Right. So to blame them for the problem, to totally blame them for the problem is not fair. Am I right?
No, that's not fair. Yeah, in the organization I work with, you have people who have a willingness to get off the street. They might be living in a car. They have their children with them. They'll make that effort to go and try and they could be victims of circumstance. Many times we have families, just recently lost their job. They lost their lease on their apartment, and then they end up sleeping in their cars.
Okay, my dear friends, my dear audience, my lovely audiences. Today, my friend Joe Gardner and I, we're talking about our homeless problem, which is an eyesore, a big eyesore to everybody, every American, especially to a city that is nicknamed the Angels. We really feel kind of like a slam on the face. So Mr. Joe Gardner has been on the PD service for 27 years, and while he's servicing Santa Monica on Santa Monica PD, he had 14 glorious years working on that issue towards the poor people, towards the less fortunate, towards the homeless. He knows better about this issue than anybody else. Let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue fighting. Still, please. Hello, my lovely friends, my dear audience. Welcome back to the show. My name is Jack Chow, with the East-West show with the G&E TV. We pay attention to all and every social issues. Homeless is one of them. Homeless is really a problem, a big problem. And I believe that we had been talking about this for several times with different guests. Today with me is my good friend, Joe Gardner. He was the former candidate for California Assembly, and he is taking a break right now before he runs his next office, and he is getting himself involved with the homeless issues. And the family, it's a family promise of San Gabriel Valley that he is involved with. And back those days when he was at the Santa Monica PD service, he spent 14 glorious years in doing the same thing. So welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jerry.
Right, good. We spent the first segment to clarify the composition of those homeless people. Just because my reason finding that at several gatherings with my friends, even my friends who share the similar minds, they blame them for they kind of like garbage themselves. They garbage themselves, right? And well, with Joe, and we start to understand that everything has a reason. Right. If I quote unquote from Joe, it's a symptom of something else, right? Something happened to somebody's life. This person never stood up on his feet again, or unable to stand up on his feet again, or he's drug addicted, and there's an alcoholist, right? So on and so forth, or due to some problems, some misdemeanors, some crimes, even nobody would hire him or her, so on and so forth, or extra something unexpected.
Right.
Altogether, I want to pull out one string that takes care of the whole thing, they are human race. They are human beings.
Right.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
They are same human beings as we are, right? So now, the problem that that we have with with the Los Angeles County and the Los Angeles City, right? So, which are bigger? The county bigger or the
county's
city bigger?
Yeah, the county's
bigger.
Right. If you look at LA City, I mean, they have a pretty significant problem. They have a pretty broad territory, but the county stretches all the way up to Lancaster and Palmdale, down to you know, the edges of Orange County and Brea and those areas. So it's a pretty big, wide geographic area. You know, it's but LA is probably seemingly the focus or the hub of homeless issues, and I think it's the way government policy is there. They don't enforce the laws. They have limited resources, but whatever resources causes the homeless to gravitate to that area. So it creates a lot of problems.
Yeah.
For that.
To tackle the problem, though, the housing, food, clothing, which comes first? And which is more important, I mean?
I think that if you can move somebody into supportive housing, you know, and that's the new definition now, that's housing that allows a person to not only have a safe place, shelter, but also get services associated with the shelter. I think that's a good model. Oftentimes, though, a lot of people, especially if they're drug addicted, they don't stick with that program, and then they'll fall out. Many will tell you, you know, we need to just throw money at housing and that'll solve the problem, and it's not. You have to have a program to go with that.
Housing still first, right?
Oh, of course,
Housing
yeah.
Still first.
Right.
So what do you guys do, the Family Promise?
Well, Family Promise is unique, and that's why I got involved in it, because it really finds those families or takes referrals of families and puts them in 12 different churches in the San Gabriel Valley. And those churches will host that family for a given period of time, 2 weeks at a time.
I see.
And that helps them. They get food, obviously, the 3 meals a day. We give them access to computers so they could start looking for job referrals. We make sure the kids go to school or that their needs are met. You know, healthcare issues.
It's only for several days a week?
No, they'll stay with the program as long as 60 days, sometimes a little longer. It depends on the circumstances.
I see.
But they may move from different churches within our network over a 2-week period.
You motivated 12 churches to get involved.
Yeah.
And those churches provide roofs for them to stay for 30, 60 days.
Right.
You wish they were provided with food and clothing and everything.
Right.
And even the computers to start looking for jobs.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
it's a very good program.
That's
very unique.
Good.
You don't see
that's
that.
That's very good. That's very good. Very good. How many do you shelter?
We have up to
with the 12 churches.
Over the last year, I think we've hosted as many as 40 families. I don't have the statistics offhand, and we're working on gathering our numbers together. But it's since 2007, I think we've housed about 160 individuals, or that represents families with children. So it's a pretty good program.
All right. Is there personal houses involved in the program? I mean, private houses?
No, generally not. They're usually church, you know, like the churches are only open on the weekends, right? Maybe Saturday, Sunday. But during Monday through Friday, those church, like the parts of the church are vacant, right?
I see.
So what we'll do is we'll house those families in those church resource areas, that maybe the sanctuaries.
And you know what? Community centers.
Right, exactly.
That could be something, because you do not have community center activities every single day.
No, you don't.
Or even if you do, you don't do it every single hour, right?
Right.
So, rest of the day, rest of the week, rest of the month could be used for the purpose of sheltering them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I right?
Yeah, and that's what our churches do. In their community rooms, in their areas, Sunday school rooms that are empty during the week, we will put families there.
By definition, you're talking about homeless. The word home comes first, right? As long as you get somebody a shelter, he or she is no longer homeless.
Yeah, they will change the statistics a little as far as the hunting, the funding issue goes. And like, for example, in LA County, they refer to a number of 14,966 sheltered homeless people. And that might mean people who will go to the shelter at night and then leave in the morning and end up back on the street. So,
I see.
And that total number, if you take the two numbers of people who are camping on the sidewalk and the people that use the shelters during the day, during the evening time, that's about 57,000 people.
Very good. All right, my dear audience, my lovely audiences, my fellow Americans, this is really our own problem. We have problems all together, everywhere, and this homeless issue is a big thing. It's a big eyesore for us Americans. A week ago, my sister came here to visit me, and she asked us, she said, I heard that you have homeless people on the street. I said, yeah, you heard that too? I didn't even dare to confront her, right? Because this is really an eyesore. It's a shame, all right? So with my friend, Joe Gardner, who's been involved with this big program called Family Promise of San Gabriel, I really call upon you to get involved. This is something very good. We'll come back after this short break to talk about it. Stay with us, please. Hello, my lovely friends, my dear audience, welcome back to the show. My name is Jack. On the East-West Show with the G&E TV. Today, we're talking about our homeless problems. In LA County, in the LA City, we do have homeless problems. We have one statistics that says we have 43 to 46,000 every single night. In addition to LA City, they're talking about 14,000 or something every single night. And now, thank God, we have those people, such as my friend Joe Gardner, who's been a police officer for 27 years, and now he is back in the community trying to help people who are less fortunate. Right now, with the program of Family Promise, they sheltered more than 150 homeless people, which is not a big deal, but a big chunk, right? So I checked with you about housing, and the answer is that you motivated 12 churches, including community centers, to get involved to provide them shelters, right? Where does food come from?
Well, it comes from the volunteers, and volunteers will, from those congregations, parishioners will go and they'll actually prepare the meals, family-style dinners for the families. Hosting a family is a big responsibility, and so you get church volunteers that will come and prepare the meals, sit with the families, eat a meal with the families, and make sure that they have a good, wholesome meal every day. So.
Yeah. Is it a constant meal every day, or for lunch, for dinner, or is that somebody on a certain day there's a free lunch or something?
No. We the congregations, when they're hosting a family, they will take care of the meals, all 3 meals a day.
Oh, on schedule.
Yeah, on schedule.
All right, okay.
And that's a key thing. You want to give the families that stay
those
with
are
us
volunteers.
stability.
Volunteers.
Right.
I understand that those workers might be volunteers. Where does the money, the food, the actual material come from?
Sometimes Family Promise will buy some of that food, but the congregations will get that food and donate it to that effort. For if they're going to host a family and they know it, they'll go out and get the necessary food to take care of those families.
I see. A few days ago, I hosted a show with a friend from Goodwill's. They're talking about the clothing. They're talking about shoes and the socks and the gloves, whatsoever, right? So, how do you take care of their? I mean, if you do clothing, or do you get any help with the clothing for those homeless people?
Yes, we do, but we could always use more. not only do we have host congregations, but we have support congregations. In other words, when the 12, you're not going to have, you might have a family in 2 different churches, but the rest of the churches, the other 10 churches, might have a support function. And what they'll do is hold drives for hygiene products, for diapers for the kids, or, you know, as you say, shoes and socks and clothing. So the families will do that. We have nice organizations like the Kiwanis and the Lions Club who also do fundraising drives to help us.
Do you collaborate with the Goodwill or stations like that for they distribute those donated items?
You know, I'm not sure if we do. Not recently that I'm aware of. It's usually the congregations will step up and take care of it.
So the congregations, they did,
or the civic clubs.
They do the job,
yeah,
right?
The civic clubs in the area.
The civic club would do it.
Right.
Okay, very good, very good. And then I believe there are women, there are children. All right, I mean the homeless. When you talk about homeless, quite often, more often than not, they are families.
Right.
Right. They are families with children. And how do you take care of the children, especially women, who needs more care?
Well, we have some employees, very low overhead, but we have some employees that will help with the families and help take care of the children. Generally, we want to make sure that the parents are doing that and they're taking care of their own children, but we have people who will be there and support that family and help them take care of those needs or whatever.
When you say employees, who are the employees? Are they paid employees?
Yeah, very small number.
Very small number.
I want to say less than 5. We have an administrator who manages the program.
Right. So where does the fund come from?
The funding comes from donations. You know, we have, if you go to our website, familypromiseofsangabrielvalley.org, you can donate to the program. We have some of those congregations that will raise money to help us fund that. We're always at the margins of funding, and we're trying to get other folks to help us. And so we do fundraisers every quarter to try and raise money so that we can keep our program going.
What's your website address, please?
It's fpsgv.org. Family Promise.
FP for Family Promise.
Right. And then SGV.
SGV for San Gabriel Valley. Altogether, 5 letters. .org. Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, that's simple.
Very simple.
That's a Family Promise, FP, San Gabriel Valley for SGV. So fpsgv.org.
Correct.
Right? So simple.
Yeah.
If you want to do donations, you want to do it that way, and I'll go check right after the show. You know me, right?
You might find an interesting story on there, a video. Talks about a family who went through the program. It's very touching and heartwarming.
Oh, sure.
Very proud.
And why don't you give us some stories?
Well, I mean, looking from the story, you know, it was a real tough time for a couple and their children to go through the problem of living in their car. And, you know, we were able to help them, place them in our program, and over a period of time through case management, we had a caseworker who really helped work closely with them to help them get off the street permanently.
I have a thought. I'm really thinking in a while, all right? Back in the early days, when I was a kid in China, the school run a program to connect us, the kids, and of course our families, because our parents are behind us, right? To make friends with a family, well, I mean with a kid in a poor family in Africa, right? One-on-one. So in other words, I adopted a girlfriend, a quote-unquote girlfriend of my age from one village in African country, and my parents would support me with the donate money on a monthly basis.
That's a nice
to do that on a one-on-one base. So, so is that something you could follow or you could imitate? Something like say
it's a good idea actually.
Yeah, make a family is to adopt. Okay, I'll adopt the Joe family. Okay, Joe is good. Joe is doing much better. I'll adopt the Bob family, and you'll adopt the Tony family, something like that. How about that?
No, it's a good concept.
Yeah.
You know, and with homelessness, you have to think out of the box. You can't.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course,
'cause
of course.
obviously, what we've been doing so far
I have
hasn't
an
worked.
extra room. I have a backyard room or something.
Right.
And at least I can invite them to take a shower once every week or something.
Right.
Or my wife can cook some meal for them. Not many, maybe a couple and a kid, something like that.
It's a noble thing to do.
Yeah, you might want to push something for the adoption thing.
Yeah, well, what we do, and that's not a bad idea, but also the key word in the whole process is connective services, right? You have the shelter, you have the ability to get food and resources of clothing and hygiene products, and also those other resources to get jobs, to get a permanent housing, like an apartment or house.
Okay.
So we kind of want to house them all in the same thing, but that doesn't preclude somebody from wanting to adopt that family.
Yeah, really.
On site, right?
After all, it's a people helping people thing.
Right, absolutely.
Right? Like you help me helping you, like that kind of thing, right? So all together, we are a community.
Absolutely.
And in addition, probably we can connect them with the government social case workers, say, hey, on your book, who were the ones on the record for a few months and later on disappeared?
Yeah.
Right? Go find them and hear them, and then we connect them with the continuation of supply of money to get them back on their feet.
Right.
Am I right?
Absolutely. And you know, through the school district, like Alhambra School District, they've collaborated with us because they recognize that they had a lot of homeless children going to their schools. And so very confidentially, discreetly, they have referred some of those families with those children to our program to help them.
Very good.
And school districts are kind of key, right? You see the child every day, you begin to notice that they might have some issues with
I'm
housing.
really glad people are doing this and to doing this. And it is more than, give you an example, last time when we waged the war against Iraq,
Right.
within 3 days we took over Baghdad. I was happy, but I'm happier now on hearing this news.
Yeah.
This is how exactly I think the weight of this issue, all right? My dear friends, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen, you happen to be somebody's parents, you better understand the value of this issue. The thing is that you got to have a loving heart. A loving heart meaning that you want to care about yourself. We are all community members. We are brothers and sisters. That's my call, all right? Let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we will find out all together, including programs in LA City and LA County, existing programs, and with the help of people such as my friend Joe Gardner, wonderful individual. And I wish that we have everybody. We have Joe everywhere. So we believe that a problem can be resolved. Stay with us, please. Hello, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack is my name. East West is the show with the G&E TV. Today the subject is homeless and eyesore. Our eyesore is a big eyesore. We really hate that. We really want people not to see that right now. With my friend Joe Gardner, who's been a LAPD officer, Santa Monica PD officer. I keep sending him back to LA.
Another
PD,
nice organization, by the way.
Santa Monica PD officer for 27 glorious years, in which 14 of them were engaged in the helping as PD officer with the less fortunate people, right? He has accumulated lots of experiences, lots of understanding about that group of people. They are less fortunate, that's for sure, and they are not the people they trash themselves. They were forced to trash themselves. That will be more precise definition, right? Now, Talking about the programs, talking about the program that my friend Joe Garner is involved, Family Promise of San Gabriel Valley, with a website fpsgv.org. You please feel free to check and see if you can do anything. I believe everybody can do anything. A dollar is money. Well, so anyway, so you can do anything what you want to do to the size that you believe that you're capable of doing. What I'm thinking is that we keep hearing news about LA City housing programs. Erica Garcetti a few days ago made a public speech, once again confirming that project to be ongoing. Is there anything in LA County?
Yeah, there are a number of programs. Yeah, with the recent passage of, I think it's Measure HHH, or it could be just 2 H's, there is going to be a lot of money coming in through the sales tax now into homeless resources. You know, you could only hope that the money is used wisely, but the county has some resources. I think they just need to coordinate how they use those resources a lot better. And I think they really need to connect those more to the courts, you know, to the jail system.
I see.
You know, I have a philosophy and a belief that, you know, the concept is if you push somebody through the court system and you mandate that they go to get care, you know, treatment for their addictions or mental health care.
But they might be afraid of going to court.
Well, true, and they are. They don't. Yeah. They don't pay for their warrants.
I don't want to go court. Right. I don't want to be taken again.
Right. The sad reality is that they get issued tickets, you know, and they never go to court. And you'll have people who accumulate dozens of tickets with all kinds of bail amounts from different areas, and they never go to court. And so they miss an opportunity to get rehab.
Yeah. Understand the problem, give them an excuse, put them in rehab. Right. And you gotta wipe up something, to offset something, to make sure that they go back to zero, stand on their feet again, to start a life. Otherwise, things are going from worse to worse, worse to worse. Right. Okay. And then on the other hand, though, I believe that the LA City is putting up some houses.
They are
for them.
And I think the model is connective. What do you call it? Housing that's connected to services, as we talked about before.
So, is there anything similar with the housing programs in LA County?
I believe there are. You know, I don't know them what they would be offhand, but they do have some programs that have connective housing, supportive housing.
Are you in connection with the Social Security?
No, we don't. It's a federal system, so you know, we don't work directly with the Social Security Administration at all. You know, they may use, the individuals may use some of that money to help them with their personal needs.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, because, well, to open their access to connect with yours, whoever, and to use whatever is available. And also the county health. You know, a big chunk of a LA County budget goes to public health.
Absolutely.
Right? For them, I believe the homeless, they have a more health issue than I have, than you have. Am I right? And their hygiene, personal hygiene, is the problem that cause their health problem.
Right.
All right. I'm thinking about, if you were talking about other countries such as China, you have a public bathhouse. It can take like hundreds of people at one time, right? Probably, wouldn't that be a crazy idea if we at least build up a public bathhouse for those poor guys to take shower constantly every now and then?
Well, sometimes our beaches and our recreational facilities who have showers end up being those places.
Right.
But that does create some problems for families, you know, with little kids who need to use the restroom, and you have somebody taking a shower in the restroom area. So, you know, I think, you know, it would probably create some problems. And unfortunately, some people who are homeless on the street, they have a myriad of, as you say, health issues and diseases that are, you know, probably an issue for that you don't want to get.
Anyway, anyhow, they are a human being.
Right,
They're
absolutely.
a human being, right? They are the same human being as you are, as I am, as he or she is, right?
Right.
So now, if you take their problem as, in a way, like how you handle yourself, that's the answer of the whole thing, right?
Right.
Regardless what they have done, regardless what they did, regardless what they will go back again,
Yeah.
right? They will commit a crime again, regardless of that, right? Because we offer shelters even to street dogs and street cats. Am I right? Am I
Right. But we
Yeah.
could let a homeless person with serious mental illness stay on the street, and that's a tragedy.
Yes,
it's a
of
horrible
course.
thing to see.
Take Kelly Thomas, for example. He was a lunatic, right?
Right.
He was beaten to death by police officers.
Yeah, terrible.
If they had a shelter for Kelly Thomas, well, he wouldn't have to die.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to
Orange
die.
County has shelters. The problem is getting them there. The problem is giving that individual to take the effort to go there. And sometimes they need a little push in that direction. And we used the term in the old days, right? Tough love, right?
Tough love, okay.
Tough love,
Okay.
in my meaning, is through the court system. You know, I'll tell you, a magic thing takes place once you get a homeless person into the court system, and you can refer them.
Assign them to rehab,
Right.
right?
They spend time in jail. They suddenly have moments of lucidity and say, "Oh, I need to change.
This is not bad.
I'm sober now, and I can see that I
All
need to
right.
be better." And so there is an opportunity that's missed now because they never make it to court.
Altogether, I call upon my audience to do something,
Right.
because this family promise is really something as human race we want to promise to ourselves. On the second, I mean, I don't want to scare everybody. I always think in this way: if something happens to me, well, I need help, right? I need all of you who recognize Jack. Oh, you're Jack on the street, right? Let me help you, something like that. I want to think that way. I'm not scaring myself even that way, but things are serious. Problems are solid. There are solid problems there. Go check this website. It's Family Promise, FP of San Gabriel, SGV.org to find out, all right? With me today is my good friend, Joe Gardner, who I respect a lot, not only for his glorious 27 years of service at the Santa Monica PD, but also his set of beautiful mind, which make him still not stopping, still working on this FP family. Thank you very much, my dear friends, and to Joe, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Jack.
Good. Keep it up. Good work.